Imagine you could create YouTube Shorts in just a few minutes with a simple click, fully automated with the help of AI and modern technology. I will show you step by step how it works.
What if
Check
Dumbledore
out
had a
the
magic
example of a video on the right that has been completely
He was
created automatically through this
placed him
automation.
with the Dursleys and allowed him to face danger year after year? But was it really just
The
about
following
preparing
tools work
Harry
perfectly
for
together to make implementation easier for you.
Dumbledore
Airtable for managing and organizing data, Leonardo.AI for creating images with AI, ChatGPT for preparing and creating video content, Make.com for automating the individual steps, and Bookoly will be used for the voiceover, merging into the final video, and automatically generating subtitles. You can find all the links to the tools in the video description. I will start with a brief overview of the automation. After that, we will build the Airtable base and implement the automation in Make.com step by step. By the end, you will be able to create your first automated videos. This will not only save you time, but will also allow you to fully concentrate on your creative content while the technology takes care of the rest for you. Before we start the step-by-step guide, I would like to briefly explain the workflow of the automation. The automation is triggered by calling a webhook URL. Then we load the relevant video data from our Airtable base. In the workflow, there are a total of 5 routes. Each route has a filter set. This means that only one route is selected per run. In the first route, the text for the video is divided into different scenes using ChatGPT. Next, a voiceover is created for each individual scene, along with an AI-generated image. We then save the voiceover in the AI-generated image in Airtable and update the status of the video. Finally, we call the webhook URL again to restart the automation. Since the status of the video has changed, the next time the automation runs, it will go through the second route. In the second route, we create the video based on the images. In the third route, we combine all the voiceovers of the scenes into a single voiceover. In the fourth route, we combine all the generated data, meaning the video, the voiceover, and the automated subtitles for the video. We then save the completed video in Airtable. If we like the video, we can click a button within the Airtable base. This button will then publish the video on YouTube. Now let's start creating the Airtable base. In this example, we will create YouTube Shorts about Harry Potter theories, a topic that is currently going viral on social media. The Airtable base stores all relevant data for the video, including scenes with images and voiceover text, as well as the voices for the voiceovers. To start, we click on Create to create the base, and we select Start from Scratch. Close the information window on the right side and assign a name to your base. Next, we change the name of Table 1 to Videos, and delete the 3 default columns: Nodes, Assignee, and Status. We rename the first column Name to OID and change the type to Auto Number. To add a column, simply click on the plus sign. For the name of the new column, select Title, and for the type, choose Single Line Text. In the next column, we store the text that will later be used for the voiceover. For the type, select Long Text. In the next column, Language, we store the language of the voiceover. Here, I use the data type Single Select and include the languages English, German, and Spanish. For the default value, I select English here. In the next column, State, we store the current state of our automation. The status ranges from scene creation to publishing on YouTube. For the default value, we select Scenes. In the next column, Action, we add a button. I name the button Create in this case. When we click the button, we start the automation for this video. The URL formula for this column I will provide in a Google Doc, which you can find in the video description. However, the formula is not yet complete. We will later receive a webhook URL from the Make.com automation, which we will insert here between the quotes. But for now, we confirm with Create field. We store the total length of the video in the duration column of type Number. For the preset, simply select the decimal number, and for decimal places, choose 2. We will later create a voiceover for each scene, but we will also pack all the voiceovers of the individual scenes together. We will save this combined voiceover in the voiceover column as an attachment. In the slideshow column, we store the video without subtitles and also without voiceover, just with the images we generated earlier with AI. We save the finished result, meaning the video with voiceover and subtitles, in the video subtitles column as an attachment. Next, we create the table Scenes, where we will store all the scenes for a video. Click on the plus sign and then on Start from Scratch. We name the table Scenes and again delete the 3 default columns, Nodes, Assignee, and Status. We change the default column Name back to OID and set the type to Auto Number. With the second column, we create a link to the Videos table. Name the column Video ID and then click on Link to another record. Then you select the Videos table and disable Allow linking to multiple records. We will skip the Add Lookup Fields prompt. In the next column Order, we store the order of the scenes. For the type, select Number. For the formatting, you can choose the preset for whole numbers, meaning we will not use decimal points. The column Image Prompt is of type long text and will later contain the prompt we use to generate the image with artificial intelligence. In the next column Text, we store the text relevant to the scene. This is, of course, shorter than the overall text of the video, but it will help us later to adjust the voiceover precisely to the scene. Select long text for the type and confirm with Create field. The voiceover for the scene is stored in the next column Voiceover as an attachment. The image we have generated with the help of artificial intelligence is stored in the image column as an attachment. We store the length of the scene in the duration column as number. For the formatting, we select a decimal number with 2 decimal places. Next, we create the third and last table Voices. Please remember to delete the 3 default columns again and rename the first column to OID and select the type Auto Number. The Voices table will allow us to easily select one of our voices from this table when creating the video. This has the great advantage that not every video sounds the same. We store the name of the voice in the Name column, and for the type, we use single-line text. In the Bookoly ID column, we store a string that we will need later in the automation so that Bookoly knows which voice we want for our video. Now let's switch back to the Videos table. Right-click on Language, Insert Right. With the Voice ID column, we create a link to the Voices table. To do this, select Link to another record, then Voices, disable Allow linking to multiple records, and finally select the lookup field Bookoly ID. I will rename the lookup field and delete from Voice ID. That concludes the creation of the Airtable base. Now let's proceed with the automation in Make.com. Here we create a new scenario. In the first step, assign a name to your scenario and then choose webhooks as the first app. For the trigger, select Custom Webhook. Add the webhook using Add and assign a name. Then copy the webhook URL to the clipboard and return to Airtable. We enter the webhook URL in the Action column. Right-click on Edit Field. Now we insert the webhook URL between the quotes and append the URL with a question mark, record, underscore, ID, and an equal sign. We confirm this with Save and then click on Create. A new tab opens with the word Accepted, which means it has worked. We can close the tab and return to Make.com. By the green check mark, we can also see that it worked in Make.com. Select Airtable as the next app and then the module Get a Record. Then set your base in the Videos table, and for Record ID, we enter the record ID from the initial webhook. Next, we add the router. We add 3 more routes to the 2 routes already present. For better clarity, let's perform an auto-align. Next, we set all the filters for the individual routes. Let's start with the first route. To add a filter, a right-click followed by a click on Set up a filter is sufficient. For the condition, we select the state with the condition that the state is equal to scenes. We repeat this for the remaining routes. For the second route, we check for slideshow. For the third route, we check for voice. In the fourth route, we check for merge. And in the last route, we check for publish. After we set all the filters, we expand the first route. For the next app, select OpenAI and choose Create a Chat Completion. The method is pre-selected. For the model, choose any. For this example, I choose GPT-4 Mini. Set the role to user. The text content can be taken from the Google Doc linked in the video description. You just need to insert the text for the input example. Set the max completion tokens to 0 and activate the advanced settings. Then select JSON object under response format. For parse JSON response, select Yes. Confirm everything with Save. With the next app, we want to iterate through each scene that ChatGPT has generated for us. Select the iterator for this purpose. At this point, the iterator does not yet understand what data we will receive back from the ChatGPT module. Therefore, we need to run the automation once. Before we can do this, we need to create a short video script with ChatGPT. This is very simple. We just need to include a brief description of what we want from ChatGPT. In my case, I ask for a brief Harry Potter theory for a YouTube short video. If we like the result, we transfer the title and text into our Airtable base. After transferring, we also set the language to English and the state to scenes. After that, we switch to Make.com and click on Run Once. Ignore the warnings. Now we return to Airtable and click the Create button. Close the tab and go back to Make.com. Here you can already see that the automation is running. ChatGPT has returned a valid JSON object, and this JSON object contains different scenes. We can now assign the scenes returned by ChatGPT in the iterator. For the next app, select Bookoly and then create a speech synthesis. If you do not have a Bookoly account yet, I will show you how to create one and then get your API key. First, click on Get Started. If you already have an account, you can log in directly. If you don't have an account, you can register here or simply log in via Google. Once you are logged in, select Profile in the bottom left corner and scroll down to API Tokens. Then click on Create, assign a name for your API token, activate all permissions, and set an expiration date for this API token if needed. Then click Submit and copy the API token. You can use Copy to Clipboard to copy the API token to the clipboard and then paste it into Make.com. After the connection is successful, let's take a look at the voices. We have a total of 29 voices to choose from. For this example, I will choose 2 voices that we will record in Airtable. By clicking the play button, we can listen to the voice once. For this example, I choose Echo and Ash.
Let's dive straight into what's ahead. There's so much potential here.
Welcome to this journey, where we'll uncover something new and exciting.
We can copy the name and the vendor ID by clicking and then paste them in Airtable. After you have added the voices in the Voices table, you can select the voice in the Videos table. For the first video, I select the voice Echo. Now we can fill out the form in Make.com. For the name, I simply select the record ID. We take the text from the iterator. For the voice, we activate the mapping. Here we store the Bookoly ID from the Airtable module. Next, you will select Generate an Image from the Leonardo.AI app and fill out the form as follows. The image prompt comes from the iterator. For the model, select Leonardo Diffusion XL, but you can select any other model. For the number of generated images, we enter 1. Set the public option to No, the height to 1024, and the width to 576. The preset style is set to Alchemy-enabled environment, and for the SD version, choose version 2. After that, we select the Leonardo.AI module, Upscale an Image. This Leonardo.AI module creates a high-resolution version of the image we previously generated. This looks much more professional on social media. For the image type, select Generated. For the image ID, select the ID under Generated Images. And under Upscaler Style, choose Cinematic. Next, we select Wait for Speech Generation in the Bookoly app. Under Speech ID, enter the ID from the first Bookoly module. This module is necessary to pause the automation until our voiceover has been generated, so we can cleanly store the voiceover in Airtable. Select Airtable as the next app, and then create a record. Choose your base and then the scenes table. For the video ID, enter the record ID from the webhook. We map the order column to the bundle order position from the iterator, along with the image prompt and the text. For the voiceover, we store the file URL from the Bookoly module. Here, select Speech URL. You can assign a name as you like. I will use the name from the Bookoly module. For the image, we store the file URL from the last Leonardo.AI module. Here, too, you can choose any file name you like. For the duration, we select the mathematical function round and set the duration from the Bookoly module in the brackets. The rounding here is necessary since Bookoly wants the duration of the image in whole numbers. However, the duration is given in seconds with decimals. Therefore, we round to get a whole number. We summarize the result of the iteration with the array aggregator. Select the iterator as the source module and select all fields. Then choose the Update a Record module from Airtable. Select the Videos table and enter the record ID from the initial webhook and update the state to slideshow. Confirm with Save. For the last module, choose Make a Request from the HTTP app. For the URL, enter the webhook URL. We simply copy it to our clipboard and paste it in under URL. Then we add a query string. For the name, assign record ID and under value, enter the record ID from the initial webhook. Finally, conduct a test to see if our first route works without errors. Click on Run Once, and in the Airtable base, click on Create. Close the tab and return to make.com. We can now see that the automation has started. ChatGPT is currently creating the different scenes for us, and the iterator is now creating a voiceover for each scene, along with an AI-generated image. As the test runs, we can already see in Airtable that our scenes table is being filled with content. We now receive a voiceover and an AI-generated image for each scene.
What if Dumbledore had a master plan from the very beginning?
Additionally, we obtain the length of the scene in seconds, which we see in the duration column on the right, and we now know how long we want to display this image in the video later. The first run has been successful. We can now view all the scenes of our video in Airtable. We also see that the state of the video has changed to slideshow. This is very important because we want the next run to not recreate the scenes, but to create the video that includes the AI-generated images in the next step. For the first module in the second route, we choose Search Records from Airtable. Choose the Scenes table and set the sorting for the order column in ascending direction. Under Output fields, select all fields. For formula, enter this formula right here. You can also find it in the Google Doc and append the OID from Airtable at the end. We increase the limit to 100. Next, choose the JSON app and then aggregate to JSON. For the source, enter the result from the Search Records module and then create a new data structure. Name this structure Scenes and click Generate. Simply copy the sample data from the Google Doc and paste it via copy and paste. Then click on Generate, confirm with Save. Set the asset type to image and the source to the image URL of the scene, as well as the duration of the scene, and if necessary, an effect. I have chosen the effect Zoom In. This causes a slight zoom in during the display of the image. For the next module, select Parse JSON and enter the string. Make sure to replicate the string exactly. This ensures that we transfer the scenes as a list to Bookoly later. For the next module to interpret the JSON string, we need to run the automation once more. Please ignore any warnings. Once the automation has run, you will see under Output our scenes list with individual scenes. Now select the next module, create a slideshow from Bookoly. Assign any name for your video. Choose the appropriate resolution. Since I am creating YouTube short videos in this example, I select the vertical resolution. For scenes, enable the mapping and enter the scenes from the previous JSON module. With the next Bookoly module, wait for video generation. We pause the automation until the video has been finished. Enter the video ID from the previous module here and confirm with Save. Once the video has been finished, we store it in Airtable. Therefore, we select Airtable's Update a Record module. Then choose the Videos table and enter the record ID from the webhook. Set the state to voice and the duration accordingly. Finally, for the file URL, enter the video URL from the Bookoly module along with any name. To save some work, we can simply clone the HTTP module and attach it to the second route. Now we will perform a test for the second route. The scenes have been accurately summarized by the automation and transferred to Bookoly. We are now waiting for the completion of the video. Once Bookoly has finished creating the video, we will, of course, store everything in Airtable and take a look. The state has successfully been updated to voice, and the total length of the video is now 59 seconds. In the slideshow column is the finished video. Let's proceed with the third route. We can clone the upper Airtable module, attach it to the third route, and delete the empty module. Then I will perform an auto-align for better clarity. In the third route, We will again retrieve all scenes and finally combine all the voiceovers of the individual scenes into one overall voiceover. For the next module, we again select the JSON aggregator and set search records from Airtable as the source module. Then we add a new data structure. This time I will name the data structure segments and click Generate. Again, we get the sample data from the Google Doc. We confirm with Save and store the URL of the voiceover under Source. We then duplicate the upper JSON module and append it. We need to replace the word scenes with segments and modify the JSON module. Here we enter the correct JSON string. Next, we select the Bookoly module, combine sounds, assign any name, and enable the mapping. Unfortunately, the Bookoly module is still unaware of what data the JSON module will return at this point. Therefore, we must let the automation run again. In the meantime, we simply enter the number 1 under segments. After the run, we can see that the JSON module now outputs all segments correctly. We can now store the list of segments under segments and confirm with Save. After that, we add the Wait for Sound Generation module and enter the sound ID from the previous Bookoly module. Next, we choose Airtable's Update a Record module. Select the table Videos, and for the record ID from the initial webhook. Set the state to Merge, and store the voiceover as the sound URL along with any name. Then we again clone the HTTP module and add it at the end. For better clarity, I perform an auto-align and save the scenario, then test the third route. Once the test run is completed, let's check Airtable. There we see that the state has changed to Merge and that an audio file has been entered into the voiceover column. This worked perfectly.
What if Dumbledore had a master plan from the very beginning about preparing Harry to defeat or exposed?
In the fourth route, we now want to combine the voiceover with the video and add automated subtitles. For this, select the Bookoly module, add audio with subtitle to video, assign any name for your video, and set the URL to the slideshow video. Set the resolution accordingly, in my case, vertical in HD quality. Then in the audio URL, enter the URL for the voiceover. Set trim to No and keep the volume at 100%. For the subtitles, you can choose any values. In my case, I select the style Highlight Current Word. We map the language to language. Set the font family, for example, to Luckiest Guy with a font size of 20. The word color, meaning the color for the currently spoken word, which is highlighted, I leave at the default value, which is yellow. I also leave the color for the other words at the default, which in this case is white. With line words, we can specify how many words are to be visible at the same time. I set this to 3 and choose bottom center for the position. After that, we select the module Wait for Video Generation and enter the ID from the previous module for video ID. Lastly, we choose Update a Record from Airtable to also store the finished video in our Airtable base. Select the Videos table and set the record ID accordingly. Then we update the status to Publish and store the finished video under Video Subtitles. For this, we set the file URL to the video URL and set any name. For this example, I will not attach the HTTP module at the end as I want to take a look at the video before uploading it to YouTube. If you want to automate this step as well, you just need to attach the HTTP module here at the end. Let's run a test of the fourth route. We can view the videos generated with Bookoly at any time on Bookoly.com, such as the data we have provided, or the activities the video has undergone, or even the individual scenes. Here we can either play the video or download the video file. You can also further process it using the reuse function. For example, we could add background music or generate sound effects. The video has now been completed, the state has changed to Publish, and the finished video has been stored under Video Subtitles column. Let's take a look at the result.
If Dumbledore had a master plan from the very beginning, he knew about the prophecy, placed Harry with the Dursleys, and allowed him to face danger year after year.
In the final step of our automation, we perform the upload to YouTube. First, select the HTTP Get a File module and enter the URL of the video subtitle. Then select the Upload a Video module from YouTube and fill out the form as follows. For the title, we simply set the title of the video. We leave radio option as it is. You can freely choose the video category. In my case, I leave the privacy status as private. For Published At, we select the value Now under the calendar functions. And for the description, we simply choose the text of our video. With the last Airtable module, Update a Record, we want to set the status of the video to complete so we can track within Airtable that the automation for this video has been completed.